Chad, welcome back to Down the Stretch.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Chad, when we last had you on the show in early January, Normandy Invasion had only one workout as a 3-year-old, but you said at that time you were ahead of schedule. How have things gone since we last had you on?
Things have gone very well for Normandy Invasion. He's been working weekly at Palmettos. I like what I'm seeing. Gotten a little bit bigger as a 3-year-old, a little stronger, so I'm expecting him to move forward this year.
Chad, I've been monitoring his workout schedule, and from the standpoint of an analyst, what I like is he appears to be working right on schedule every 7 days. That's important to me. How important is it to you as his trainer?
It's very important when you lay out a schedule. With horses, things rarely go to plan. It's just the way it is. And with him, actually, everything's gone to plan. Knock on wood, he hasn't had any setbacks. The weather's been good in Florida. The track's been in good shape. So, he's done everything we've asked of him in the morning, and he's ready to start his 3-year-old campaign.
Chad, as our audience watches a piece of his last start, the November 24th Remsen, and for our audience, you'll see him just entering the screen around the far turn. Take a moment, you touched upon this earlier, take a moment to tell our audience, how has he changed mentally, physically, since we last saw him here in the Remsen?
Well, first of all, the Remsen, very impressive race, and he ran like a mature horse, even though he's only making his 3rd career start, first time around 2 turns. I was impressed with the way he went inside and the way he passed horses, the way he finished, the way he had a long, sustained kick for a young horse. Since that race, I think he's even moved forward. He's become a little bit of a stronger workhorse. He's gotten a little bit a touch taller, covered a little more ground galloping. So I'm expecting him to be a little bit better as a 3-year-old. So that's what we're hoping, and that's what he's showing me in the morning.
As you told us earlier, you have selected the Risen Star as his 3-year-old debut. You're stabled in South Florida. The Fountain of Youth on paper looks to have just one horse to beat. In Violence, the Risen Star on paper looks deeper, but tell our audience why you chose the Risen Star.
Well, this particular horse, Normandy Invasion, I just didn't feel, nor did Mr. Porter, that Gulfstream's track would really suit his running style. Wonderful track. I'm obviously wintered every year down here in South Florida. We love it, and we win a lot of races at Gulfstream. But this particular horse, with his come-from-behind style, probably won't suit Gulfstream as well. The track does tend to be a little bit speed favoring, which can help if you have a horse with tactical speed. Also, at 1 mile and a 16th at Gulfstream, they run on a different wire, and it makes the stretch a little shorter. So those 2 factors really took Gulfstream out of consideration for Normandy Invasion for us.
Chad, he's only going to have 2 pre-Derby prep races. He needs points. How tight, how fit is he for the Risen Star? How well do you expect him to run off the 13-week layoff?
I think the horse is pretty fit. He's easy to train. He keeps himself fit. He's not a heavy horse. He's lean, very efficient. I think the horse is doing well enough and is fit enough to run very well in this race. However, it's not our main objective, this race. So we're really using this race. Hopefully we win it and move forward to go on to the next leg. So I think with the point system, the way it is, he's going to have 2 good opportunities to show himself and earn points, and hopefully it works out for him. For some reason, if he falls short on points, we still have a really nice horse for the summer for races like the Travers and all sorts of nice races. So we don't feel we're under any pressure to get to the Derby, but we're going to give him a fair shot to do it. And from what I'm seeing so far, he's well prepared in his training to have 2 good races.
Chad, most people feel, and this is the first year of the new point system, so nobody's certain, but most people feel somewhere around 40 points is going to get you in to the big dance. If he wins this afternoon, it's a 50-point race. Might that impact where you run him in his final pre-Derby start?
That's a good question. I guess it could. Looking at the schedule, not to get ahead of ourselves, but we had penciled in his final Derby start to most likely be between the Wood Memorial and the Louisiana Derby. For a number of reasons. You know, the timing of those races, both tracks we feel would suit him. Obviously, he ran well at Aqueduct already, so that's one factor we eliminate from my home bases in New York. And in Louisiana, this race in the Risen Star will be telling to how he handles fairgrounds and if it's an option for us. So, I mean, I guess the points could change a little bit, but it's more of a timing issue for us. If we're going to get to the Derby, I want to run the horse in races where he's spaced where it gives me a chance to win the Derby. I don't want to just change his schedule around to try to get into the Derby, regardless of how he runs in the Derby. That's not really our goal with the horse.
All right, we are some 10 weeks out from the first Saturday in May. How pleased are you with his progress? How pleased are you with where you stand 10 weeks out from the Kentucky Derby?
Well, it definitely looks like a deep field of 3-year-olds this year, deep crop. So any horse that goes to the top and wins the Derby is going to have to be a really good colt, I believe, and have a lot of things go their way. So with that said, I'm really happy where I'm at with my horse. At this time, I wouldn't trade him with anyone. I see some nice horses out there. I'd love to be training all of them, believe me. But I only really have one strong bullet here with this horse, but he's a good one to have. And right now, I wouldn't change anything about this horse. I wouldn't change my position with my horse. So, you know, he's going to have to go out there and do it at 3. And like I said, it's a deep crop. So he's going to have to come with his A game for sure.
Chad, as always, thanks so much for your time. Thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch, and all the best later this afternoon with Normandy Invasion in the Risen Star.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Chad Brown, ladies and gentlemen, the conditioner of Remsen runner-up, Normandy Invasion.